Hey there, welcome to the podcast. You guys are in for a treat today. Lisa Streckert has so many golden nuggets to share. She has been at her school, St. Croix Lutheran Academy, for 10 years, but she's only been doing social media for a year. She's doing amazing work. She works with her communications director, and they have a ton of engagement. They're telling really great stories, and we're going to break into what social media channels she runs, how she gets her content. Her biggest tip is one that I haven't had before. So you're going to want to listen to that. And then we're really going to talk about some reels and some advice for capturing the moments and really doing a great job. So I love it. You're going to learn so much from Lisa today and talk about learning and learning for free. Our Golden Gribbles, our annual Best of Social Media Awards, are coming up on Friday, May 9th, and we are doing a live award ceremony that happens on May 9th, which is School Communicators Day. And so we hope that you will join us. If you're on our newsletter list, you're getting invites to that live webinar presentation. We hope that you will join us. We'll include that in the show notes as well to make sure that you've got the information to join us live on May 9th. If you're on our newsletter, you'll also get a recording to that, which will be amazing because you might win if you applied. But you'll also really get some great inspiration on the best of social media. So, before we go on anymore, we're going to get to today's K-12 PR tip. All right, today's K-12 PR tip is about graduation. Graduation is coming up, and we should be definitely celebrating that on social media. But as you lead up to graduation day, which is probably live streamed now after 2020, it seems like most of our graduations are live streamed. Um, but as you promote graduation, instead of just saying when the ceremony is, how about highlighting your seniors? Now, some of you have really big classes. You can't celebrate all of your seniors. How about identifying two, three, four stories that you can celebrate in regards to your seniors that are going to be graduating? Maybe it's a picture with a favorite memory. Maybe it's a little video of somebody talking about one of their favorite teachers that really helped them through the years. It might be an elementary, middle school, or high school teacher. You guys, there's stories out there. We just have to go find them and be willing to share them. And like I said, the perfect presentation, don't worry about that. Just tell the story. Again, if it's just a picture, if it's a video, however you want to be able to share it, maybe it's in their own words. Maybe you've got seniors that are willing to share their story via a video themselves, and you can get out there and share that. So it's graduation season, so let's tell those stories on social media. And now let's dive into a whole bunch of wisdom with today's guest, Lisa Streckert. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Great to see you this morning, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, thanks, Andrea. I'm doing good.
Yes, I am in my other studio today. I guess, studio, my office. So if you don't recognize the background and you're watching this on YouTube, I'm in Minnesota and I'm not very far away from where Lisa is. So Lisa, why don't you share, kind of your background and then your role at St. Croix Lutheran Academy?
Sure. So I've been at St. Croix Lutheran Academy for about 10 years now, and I actually went to high school here. So high school, graduated 2010, went to college for music of all things, and then came back and started working here in the middle school office as an assistant to the principal. I still do that. And then in the last year or so, I've added on communications assistant. So that's how I've kind of got into the whole social media for schools world and designing things, and um, didn't study it, but it's been fun learning all of it. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you probably grew up with it a little bit more maybe than I did, just being your age. But tell me a little bit about St. Croix Lutheran Academy. How big is it? Where are you guys located?
Sure. Yeah, we are in West St. Paul, which is just south of downtown St. Paul. And we have about 500 kids in grades 6 through 12. So I'm in the middle school office most days, so I get to know them a little more, but with social media, I'm getting to know all the high schoolers too. And we have a dormitory in the back, so we have about 100 so kids that live in our dorm,
Okay.
and a good portion of them are international students. So that kind of makes up a very diverse student body here. So that's an extra fun part.
Awesome. And so you attended school there. Did you go there 6 through 12 as well?
I was just there for high school. I think
Okay.
the middle school opened my senior year.
Okay.
So it's a little more recent.
Okay. Well, you and I are similar then. I mean, I do the social media for New
Mhm.
Auburn, which is where I graduated. It's a unique perspective. Question for you as far as just a year ago, you took on your, kind of additional communications
Mhm.
responsibilities. Did somebody else do that before you? Were you the first person to kind of jump into that role? How did that look?
Sure. Yeah, we have a communications director, and she ran it as long as we've had it. And she was just needing more support, and I was just kind of switching offices that I was in. I was in advancement doing database work for years, and just kind of got out of that. And I was like, I'd love to do more communications and creativity and design, that kind of thing really interests me. So I just kind of joined her in that, and she lets me run with it. She says I'm young, I know more, even though I don't use a ton of, social media myself.
Okay.
It was still a lot of learning it, a lot from your program actually, um, just because I don't love to use it personally.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we kind of share the responsibilities.
Okay, awesome. So it's
Mhm.
kind of expanded, and
Yeah,
I love that because I think schools obviously need to focus on it. But when it's a director role, I mean, they're in a lot of the high
right,
strategy, all of that, and so to be able to grab on to someone else to be able to help, and especially with social media, obviously this is the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast, so you probably do other roles as well. But how does social media fit into your role there with celebrating and kind of sharing the things happening in your 612 school?
yeah. So we all have our offices and all of the things going on at school. Um, and it's just been fun to just always take my phone with me and grab pictures of anything I see going on. And we keep a spreadsheet so we know what we're scheduling because there's two of us. Of maybe a teacher sent me pictures, but she knew nothing about it. So we just like to keep organized that way.
Okay.
Um, and just kind of make sure we're covering, all the sports, all the music, and getting a good variety of things in the classroom, um, just so that we can really share what's going on at our school and
Yeah.
celebrate everything.
What channels do you run for St. Croix Lutheran Academy?
Yeah, we mostly do Facebook, Instagram, some LinkedIn, like we are on there. We've
Okay.
kind of stopped doing Twitter X.
Yep.
It's out there, but we really aren't active anymore.
Okay. That's pretty typical too.
Hmm.
So that's good. So what has been some of the best feedback that you've gotten from like other alumni? You're obviously an alumni. And
Sure.
so from the school, just in regards to what you've been putting out there on social media.
Yeah. I love hearing from alumni when I see names pop up and it's like, oh, they were my sister's friend, or people that were like a year younger than me. So it's fun to see, oh, I remember doing that when I was at school. They see classroom projects that they remember doing, or remembering teachers, or when coaches get awards, they're like, yes, they were the best. I remember them. So that's my favorite part when people recognize things that are the same. Um, but then they also notice like, oh, I wish I had that class, or PSEO, or this is improved, or of course they do a building project the year after I graduate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But just showing off all the improvements since my years has been really fun to showcase.
Yeah. We're going to link up your social media channels for people to look at. But as I was prepping for this interview, I really noticed how much engagement you have, Lisa. So you get a lot of comments and likes and loves. And what do you think is behind that? I mean, I don't know, not every school has that much engagement. So
Mhm.
can you share?
Yeah. So really since I've joined this role in the past year, we've just tried to post consistently. Something every day has been a big part of it. Um, Sometimes I love, not that we've personally reached out to these parents, but sometimes you see the same parents liking every single thing, or they will share, or they will do a comment or love. And I think they just kind of get the algorithm and realize that that's helpful to us. So sometimes that's just what it takes is like just telling a few parents, like, you could share this if you would like. And even teachers do that for us, which is helpful. And then I'd say Instagram is most popular with our students, and then Facebook is more parents and just older generations are on Facebook more.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to see students engaging on Instagram and they'll share it and they notice their friend in a picture, they're going to tag them or put it in their stories. So that's kind of how the engagement comes out for our school.
Yeah. Yeah, just you guys are telling a lot of variety of stories. Obviously, you've got great things going on. But you know, what would you say is one of your biggest struggles when it comes to social media?
Sure. I'd usually say just finding the time
Yep.
um, and scheduling things out and making sure you have something every day and over the weekend, or sometimes all the events fall at the exact same time. How do you space them so everything gets a little airtime and you're not covering up something important with another thing and another thing? Uh, so just figuring out the time, realizing it's important, and kind of managing, is this quick and just put a post out there with a bunch of pictures, or should I spend some time and make a reel and like this could be really cute and fun, but is it really worth it? Like
Yeah.
sometimes our posts do better because they're just so quick and you see it and you can scroll, but a reel they won't listen to always to after a couple seconds. So it's just kind of weighing how much time you've got for some things.
Yeah, I think the listeners totally can relate to that because, yeah, you only have so much time. This is part of your job, but it's not your whole job. Has there been a magic, I guess, formula that you try to use of, okay, I am going to spend this extra time on a reel versus just quickly sharing them, or are you still tr just trying to figure that out? What would you say?
Sure. I wouldn't say like a formula. It's just kind of like, oh, I haven't done a reel for a while. Let's switch it up. Just, it's mostly variety. Um, and if you can afford the time.
Yeah, that's really good advice, Lisa. You don't know how brilliant that is. And
Or
some of the
even if there's like a really good song, you're like, okay, this one's gonna be golden because of the song I can think of.
Yeah.
So,
And I also like the fact that, you know, sometimes you can share stories in multiple ways. And so you could get that quick picture or, you know, post up. And, you know, being first to the press is obviously good and that can build engagement. But then if you've got a couple days and you've got that chance for that perfect song or to put it out there in a different way, it's just a reminder with the algorithm. Not everybody sees everything
yeah,
anyway. And so getting it out there in multiple ways is okay as well. So I like that. And then obviously just finding the time in general.
yeah.
People can definitely relate to that. Now, you are part of our membership group. Was your
Mhm.
communications director also in the membership group before
Yes.
you got your job?
We kind of joined it together. When
Okay.
when I joined the team, she was like, we're gonna kind of go hard on social media, but neither of us really knew what we were doing. So we're like, let's invest in this, let's figure it out. And that's just been super helpful.
Yeah, awesome. So that is our membership group. We'd love to have you come in. What's kind of been the most valuable part out of that aspect of having kind of that training and community and you know you got the Canva template directory.
Mhm.
Is there any one thing that really stands out that's the most helpful for you?
Sure. I'd say initially there's just a lot of resources of like, how do you make a reel? What is a reel and a story? And just we were new to it all. Um, And I didn't have a key coworker that she was younger, so I'd always go to her and be like, how do you do this? What is cool? I don't want to be like the millennial that is making things up. Um, so it was a great resource of like how to do it initially. And now that I've got that down, it's just really nice to go in the group and like see what people are talking about and getting ideas from everyone. And then when Instagram comes up with a new feature or they change something, I'm like, I'm going to the group. Andrea knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
it's just nice to be current with everything.
And a lot of times you'll notice, Lisa, I don't necessarily know what's happening, but together, I mean,
Yes.
we've got over 400 schools across the country. And do you know that we just got a school from Africa, Lisa?
Ooh, cool.
So we've had a few different countries in, but it's the
Very
first
cool.
one from Africa. So that's super cool. So we're international. In a school your size of 500 students, you've got a lot of people doing doing different activities. Do you get content from your staff and how does that work?
Sure. We've had an email. They can email or just chat me. But recently I've sent out text our school iPhone, and that's been the most helpful.
Okay.
So I super recommend getting a school iPhone. That has changed everything for us this year. Then you don't have to manage it on your own device and be like deleting school pictures from your personal pictures. Um, they just live on the school phone. They upload automatically. And then, you can post instantly. And it's not tied to your stuff or it's just a good way to keep work at work. And then you leave your phone here and then you take your own phone home and you have the option to use it on your own phone at home,
Right.
but you can separate things a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so having the school phone is helpful. And then I even just emailed this week, all the staff, send me your pictures from your classrooms. Like you can text me now. And that got a lot of teachers like, hey, do you want this picture from last week? Is that too old? I'm like, actually, no. Like,
Yeah.
that's great. And there's some golden pictures in there that I had no idea were happening, but teachers are taking pictures all the time. They just don't think to send it to you.
Yeah. That's an awesome tip. And I like boundaries and, being able to have that school phone on you at school. You can check at home if you wanted to, or can log in, obviously, to your
Mhm.
social media sites if you needed to monitor something. But having that separate location. And then I think you stressed something is just making it easy for your
Yeah.
staff
Hmm.
and making sure that they know, hey, they probably are taking pictures, just making sure that you're inviting them to get those to you. I'm sure sometimes you've had to share pictures that aren't the greatest,
Hmm.
but sometimes those do the best, right?
Yeah, I've definitely found that. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like a golden, beautiful picture. It's like, oh, it's just a kid in a classroom doing something you can't totally tell, but if it's the right kid, they'll share it and talk about it and goes
Yeah.
great.
That's awesome. So, are there one or two stories that kind of stick out to you, being in this role for about a year that you've been able to share on social media that have done, really well, or maybe surprised you, or that you were just so excited to tell?
Mhm.
One or two of those stories.
Sure. This fall we hosted a big choral festival, so we had lots of schools visiting. So that was super fun because it's music. You get to film bits of lots of things. So you got, huge mass rehearsal of hundreds of kids singing in our chapel with the sunlight coming through, and that was beautiful. People sharing that from all of their schools. And then like a pops concert, they're all just singing pop songs and dancing. And you could just share little clips of each group. And then that reel was shared by all of their schools. So I think just taking advantage when you've got visitors involved with what you're doing, that was really helpful and fun. And, it was something I was involved in when I was in high school. So like alumni reacted and loved that. Oh, it's still happening.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
make sure to link that reel. So I think in some cases, let's just talk about that, Lisa. You got this big
mhm,
event happening. I love that you did video because sometimes we do pictures from like music events and it's like,
mhm,
dude, we want to hear the music. Um, but it can still be overwhelming because it's just like, okay, I could do stories, I could do a reel, I could do a post. And,
mhm.
sometimes on Facebook, you can figure out ways to post multiple videos. But did you basically just focus on getting like vertical video and then you put that into a reel knowing that ahead of time? Or did you do stories throughout and then put a reel together? How did that
Sure.
work?
Um, it worked really well because we're two people.
Okay.
Um, so during the days when all the schools are practicing, I would just go around with the phone doing vertical for the most part. But then during the concert, my director took the still photos with the nice camera with the zoom way in the back, and
Yep.
I sat close to the stage getting nice close-up stuff, more for social media. So we got the best of both. And I just mostly did live photos. So like
Yep.
each school gets, a 2-second clip, and now you've got a great reel that I didn't spend a lot of time on.
Okay. So that is key. Again, this is a little bonus tip. So Lisa used the live mode of her iPhone. And when you take a photo with your iPhone in live mode and you put it into Reels, it automatically adds in the video. And even the audio is in there, right? And
Mhm.
but I don't know, did you record over that or did you leave the audio in
I
there as
didn't.
well?
I just left it as is. So you got 2 seconds of this choir singing, this 2 seconds. Oh, they did a swing dance little flip. You're gonna use that clip. Um, so it just made a nice little, minute video, but each school got their moment.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. So we're gonna make sure to link that reel.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll get that from
Yeah,
you. So that people can take a look at that. And we'll make sure they get your contact information if they've got more questions too. But I also love that live mode. I mean, it obviously brings those pictures to life, but then you also don't have to edit it down from like five
yeah,
seconds that it automatically wants to put your pictures in at five
yeah.
seconds. Then you have to kind of drag each one of them down to something less. It makes them move really, really quick.
Mhm.
And so that's great. And then, you just mentioned, hey, if you've got visitors in, make sure that you're, posting, maybe you're tagging some of those
Mhm.
schools because those are going to get more shares as well. Is there another favorite story that you've gotten to share, in your time?
Sure. One recent one I'm thinking of did really well, and all it was our principal shoveling. It was super short. It was the end of the day. Um, the principal was just doing, end of day announcements and prayer saying, "Oh, drive safe. It's snowing. It's just started." And then a second later, the front desk receptionist called me and said, "The principal's shoveling the front steps. You might want a picture of this." So I ran up there and got like a quick 10-second video of him shoveling, and it took off. Everyone thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Just grab your phone, right?
Yeah.
And get it. You just never know.
Hmm.
And those authentic moments can do so, so well. They say more than a professionally edited,
Yeah.
whatever video. Not that those don't have a place. But I love that. So we'll make sure to hook that up as well. And he wasn't nervous or anything about, or
No, he didn't even notice. I was like in the front doorway, and he's done crazier things for us on social media. So
yeah. So what was your caption with that? Was that a short little reel then that you shared?
yeah, it was a short reel. It was funny because our high school principal was shoveling, and our middle school principal was just kind of standing there watching. So I said, one's doing service and one's just quality control.
Okay, I love
So,
it. So kind of
nice and
made a
short.
joke of it.
Yep.
And that's what we need, right? You got to have some personality. And I'm sure that's come with time, and your comfort level, but obviously graduating from there and then already working there 10 years. And I know a lot of people listening, Lisa, are in your shoes where, you've worked for the school for, many years, but then you get kind of put into this role. And it's just awesome to see you really thrive, and you guys are doing a great job for your school. As we kind of wrap up, what would you say is your best social media tip? And maybe you already stated it throughout our
Sure.
conversation, but
Yeah. I think it's just been to get a school iPhone
Hmm.
and have teachers text you. Make it easy on everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I think being able to do the photo management and the sharing and then keeping things separate,
Yeah.
definitely if that works. And it's ultimately not that expensive. Does the phone for school have a complete plan on it, or does it just run on your Wi-Fi? Do you know?
Um, I've always been on school Wi-Fi. I
Oh,
haven't really taken it out anywhere. We've just
okay.
done super basic.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be the biggest, best, newest phone. We just got, the next generation down, but like they all have good cameras nowadays.
Exactly. Do you ever have students help with any of your social media? And has that been easier to be able to hand off that school iPhone if that needed to happen? Or maybe you don't do that?
Sure. I haven't given them the phone. I think they're just mostly comfortable using their own.
Yeah.
Um, but it has helped. I have had a few students do some things for me this year. Um, One girl was in the musical, and so she ran around, just telling kids about the musical and like interviewing them a little bit in the hallways.
Hmm.
So she just used her own phone. I gave her a little, mic that you hook in and hold out to people. And that was the first time we'd done that. So she just grabbed the mic from me, and when she was done, she just texted me her video to the school iPhone. It doesn't have to be my personal number. So that just made it a lot easier to get student content too.
Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot with one more question, Lisa. Just, being in this role, trying, a lot of new things. What do you think over the last year that you've been doing this has been like you were the most nervous about? Like it was furthest out of your comfort zone, but you were so glad at the end of it that you tried it. Do you have anything that was just like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do this, but then you did it and then it actually ended up working out well?
Yeah. I think it was the Choral Fest videos
Yeah.
because I knew so many people would see it, and I was like, they are counting on us to get good pictures of their kids. Because I remember when I was in it, and I looked for myself in all of those pictures, trying to find myself in the choir. Um, so I just know I was nervous about, I was kind of sitting in the aisle on the floor of the gym, trying to get really close, and I was like, I'm kind of in the way, but not really. It's totally fine. No one notices the photographer, but it
Right.
just felt very visible. So just getting over that of like people want the content, they don't actually care about what you're doing. So
Yeah. I love it. Oh, good job. And I think that is another great point. So many good nuggets in here, Lisa. But, yeah, sometimes you got to get in there to get the best shots. But really, people aren't, if it's
yeah,
happening live, they're not paying attention to you anyways. And the gold and the way that you can, I guess, extend that story to so many more people that aren't physically there. Like you said, alumni, I mean, they remember it. And so they're going to be able to enjoy it where they wouldn't necessarily be able to come. That's really powerful. So we are going to share again your social media channels. We'll get that choral festival and the principal shoveling video. If people want to stay connected to you, Lisa, what would be the best way?
sure. Probably LinkedIn.
Okay.
Um, just Lisa Streckert on LinkedIn. Um, I don't use my personal Instagram a ton, so
Okay.
I'm
Well,
there, but try not to use it.
yeah, we'll put your LinkedIn and then is it okay for me to just include your email if they
Yeah,
want to
that's
reach
totally
out
fine.
via email? Okay, so we'll have that, you guys, in the show notes. I can't wait to hear some of your feedback and things that you try. I mean, certainly we're entering into this season of celebration between concerts and graduations and all of that. And I think, your helpful tips just on like covering this choral festival could really help out like when we're thinking about graduation.
Sure.
You don't have to do it alone. And even
Hmm.
if you are a solo shop, maybe you've got someone that can help you with one of the aspects, like you said, either the video or the photos with the nice,
Yeah.
lens. If you can kind of divide and conquer, I think that would really help. So, well, thank you so much, Lisa, for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody, for listening in. We'll be back again next week with another fabulous guest. And until then, keep telling those stories. Bye bye.
Bye.